Today on The Happy House, we're reupholstering without fabric.
I always plan on at least 2 coats when I'm painting fabric because that first coat is going to soak in a little bit.
And great ideas for game day celebrations. Those are really cute and yummy. You can even prep these ahead of time and stick them in your freezer.
And they'll stay cold.
And we're joining forces with greatergood.org and learning about a program that fosters literacy. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Happy. I live in a quiet town outside of Minneapolis with my family. The real Happy House is far from quiet. I learned early on things are much easier with a little help. I also have a few tricks of my own to share. It's go time, people. Welcome to the Happy House. It's a great day for me because I'm at one of my very favorite places with one of my very favorite people,
thank you.
Amanda. And we are at Mama's Happy, and we are going to do a little upholstery project today, or reupholstery project, I should say.
We are.
Okay.
We're going to freshen this baby up a little bit.
So, what kind of fabric are we using?
Well, so there's no telling how long this has been on here, right? And we see this all the time. Now, if you're, handy.
This is fancy.
It's fancy. Shiny.
Sure is.
Yes.
Okay.
Kind of satinish. So we're going to give that fabric and the chair an uplift today.
One of my things that I know how to do is put fabric and wrap it and staple it. I can do all that.
You can do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
well, I hate to break it to you, but you're not going to have to break out that tool today.
I can't bring out my big stapler?
No staple gun today. All you get to use is a paintbrush. So one thing that surprises people is that you can use anti-sewn chalk paint to actually paint fabric.
So we're kind of dyeing the fabric?
Kind of dyeing the fabric.
This is exciting.
This is a pretty satiny finish, so I wouldn't necessarily spray because the water's just going to bead up on this. But if it was an upholstered piece that was a little bit more absorbent, I would get it a little damp, and that way it just gives the paint a little easier time to soak in. Since this is a little satiny finish, we're just going to go right at it with the painting. Okay, so I will let you load up your brush there.
And is this color, it's a cream, we've got these blue stripes, but lo and behold, it
is covering. But I always plan on at least 2 coats when I'm painting fabric because that first coat is going to soak in a little bit. So don't judge it by what it looks like after your first coat.
This is really satisfying.
It is, and look how quick and easy.
I know.
You didn't have to go to the fabric store.
Now, I know with chalk paint, we always have to do the wax coating. Is that still the case?
Yes, so what I do when I'm painting fabric is that I will let it dry, and then I would give it a light sanding just to loosen the fibers up a little bit.
What grit sandpaper, what do you think?
I would do a fine grit, so nothing lower than 220.
Okay.
And then you're going to put the wax on, and when you finish, it kind of feels like just a soft leather. It's smooth. It doesn't crack when you sit. You can wipe it off with a damp cloth, so it's easy to maintain.
I'm going to have leather dining room chairs. This is what you're telling me?
And no one will know the better.
Oh my gosh, that's so great. But I know that we made something ahead of time that the paint has dried, and we can then wax it and see what that really looks like when it's done. This stool was painted earlier, and I can tell by feeling this wood that there's not wax on here, but then this cushion was also painted with one of my favorite colors.
Yes, Opposun, I love that too. And this was a vinyl cushion, so instead of fabric like we were doing earlier, this is vinyl.
All right, so now we are going to apply our finishing coat, and this is the thing that really seals the paint in.
Yes, it seals the paint. It's going to give it a much smoother hand. And on a light color like this, you'll be able to see kind of where you've been and where you haven't been. Now, the question I always get is, do you have to buy that brush to be able to use to put the wax on? You certainly do not. You could be just using an old cloth if you want to give it a try over there.
Well, and we do need a cloth. I mean, since I met you, I've started using chalk paint on a lot of things, and I do have this brush, and I really like it, honestly. It makes things a lot easier because it just covers so much. But then I also use like an old dish towel or rag to wipe away any excess wax, because if it feels sticky, it's not done.
That's right. You've learned.
I know.
There's too much on it. If it feels sticky, you've got to get the excess off. So you can see there's a little bit of a sheen.
Yep. This feels good, though. I learned from the best teacher.
You did. If I do say so myself.
Okay, so we have used the clear wax on here, and we need to finish all of this, which will take a little while.
Before we do that, let's give the vinyl its coat.
Okay.
So we're going to start with the clear wax. If you think about the paint on there being very porous, whatever goes in first is going to be the darkest. So if you put clear on first, it's going to fill in those holes. Then we can come back with some dark, age it a little bit.
Smells good. All right.
All right, so then,
This part.
if you're going to use your dark wax, I recommend dip your brush in there, but then wipe off as much as you can. So you have very, very little on your brush, okay? And then you're just going to glide that over the top. And the idea is you're just aging it just a little bit. So if you weren't looking to try to make the thing look old, then you would just skip the dark wax and you would clear wax it and you're done.
So one thing I'm noticing as I look at this is like kind of some cracking in here, which I think will be great to make it look like the leather that we're aiming for. But is it going to be durable?
It is going to be durable. The thing that you have to know when you're working with chalk paint is that many times we're going for that old worn look. If that's not what you're going for, then there's just some different steps you might take. I might have put several coats of paint on to cover up the rough spot that was already on the vinyl.
Okay. I like it, but
I like it too. But
I have 4 kids. Like, can they sit on here?
yes, they can.
All day.
And what's nice, they can spill on it and you can wipe right off.
All right. Could you really honestly paint a whole upholstered chair with this?
Yes. In fact, we have several examples in our stores. I'll
You
have
do?
to take you to see.
I need to see those. This is cute. And it feels great.
Yeah, now this one has not been waxed, so I would probably add
Yeah.
a little bit of wax to it. But
It looks great. And honestly, to get this reupholstered, and this is not a project I could do myself.
No.
I can do a lot of things myself, but not this. But to get this reupholstered with this button tufting would be so expensive. I'm going to take a seat.
please do.
This is comfortable. I honestly can't believe what I just saw. That chair that you showed me out in the store was great.
I know, and I mean a couple of hours of time, probably $10 in material.
It felt great too. That's the one thing that I think people watching might not believe. It feels really good.
Right.
So that's what was surprising to me.
And I'm glad you liked it.
I have learned something new today.
I'm glad. That's our goal.
It was hard for me not to get my staple gun out, but I'm enlightened. Thanks, Amanda. Coming up next on The Happy House, great ideas for game day celebrations. I love throwing parties for the big game day, but I'm always looking for new tips and ways to entertain my guests. Peggy is with me today, and we're going to talk football entertainment.
Whether it's the championship game that I think is in February or a high school game, college game, these are some yummy food ideas that are kind of easy and yummy.
I always love fun snacks. Okay, what do you got for me?
So potato bar, right? But I thought how cute to wrap up your baked potatoes and then make them into little footballs, right?
It's a football potato.
Here's a fun treat that's super easy. Check this out. Ice cream sandwiches, right? You take a stick and we've made a little
like a game,
like
a game
little
play.
play on there, yeah,
Yes.
with a Sharpie marker. So stick that in there and then take a little white icing and you make the lacings like a football, right? On your ice cream sandwich.
Those are really
that fun?
cute and yummy. You could even prep these ahead of time and stick them in your freezer.
And they'll stay cold. So happy everybody likes buffalo chicken wings, right?
Yes.
So what I've done is turn the chicken wing into a meatball. And then you take squeeze bottles with your sauce and your blue cheese and drizzle it over the top, add a pick, some little celery, and you're good to go.
That's a great idea, no bones.
And you can put those in the crock pot too.
Nice.
You know how people have the beer cheese soup, right? But some kids would probably be scared of that. This is a soup that has green apples and onions and carrots in it and apple cider and chicken stock.
That looks yummy, and I love how it's not chili because
Right,
it seems
everybody
like
does
chili is
chili.
the go-to.
So these are some green apples
Okay.
that I've sauteed and those go on top.
Oh, you did saute
Yeah,
them?
yep,
Oh, that
yep.
sounds delicious.
And then some apple smoked kielbasa goes on top. And there's also Gouda cheese in here. It's really yummy.
It's a winner.
Secret weapon, touchdown. Here's another idea for the soup. If you're having like an adult party and you want to make it a little more elevated, is to pre-fill these lovely little glasses, and then it's like in a little
It's like soup appetizer, yeah.
exactly. Do people in your family like deviled eggs?
I was just about to say, who doesn't love
I know,
deviled eggs?
right?
Yes.
So this little fun twist is take chives or scallions and cut them into little thin strips and make the little football laces on there.
It's so cute, and I love how easy these are to eat. Just pop it in your mouth, no mess.
So the big day is coming and we're ready for our party. We've got our food, but let's start with the invitation first. I thought this was really fun and easy. I just found some craft paper in my, cupboard of stuff. So just print out something on your computer and then cut it. I don't measure, I don't, do any of that stuff, and I just use a glue stick, stick it on there. But what I thought was fun was the laces part. And I found these in the shoe closet, right? I did. And the kids can do that. Lace it up, cut off that, and then just glue it to the front.
Peggy, what's this?
This is pretend grass, AstroTurf, fake turf, and you buy it at the big box stores. It comes on giant rolls, and you just tell them how much you need, and it's not expensive, and it's really durable, and I've used it many times for different things.
All right, what do you got here?
Okay, well, we've got the colors of our favorite teams, right? Super easy from the craft store is just some striped kind of paper to wrap
Referee
around.
paper
Yeah.
around a can. That's really great. And I like how we're
2 seconds.
using cans. And then, of course, people can pick the colors of their favorite team. All right.
One of my favorites here is penalty flags. So if the kids are getting out of order, or your husband or something, somebody makes a mark with a glass on your table, you can throw a penalty flag at them. Here's a fun little treat. A championship ring. I think that the kids would love this, and maybe an adult too. You're the champion.
I am a champion. Ooh.
Serious
Check
bling.
that out. I know.
Okay, and I think my very favorite thing about putting this together was this trophy. I can't even tell you how easy it was to make. So the craft store, I think people must make topiaries, and it's pointed, right? And I took a knife and just cut it at an angle, and I threw it in a box with this Nerf football and just spray painted it silver and kind of jiggled it around. It took like 5 minutes. And then I just glue gunned it.
It's a great centerpiece, or somebody could win it. Maybe if they win the flag football game.
Yeah, it could be a traveling tradition
Traveling
every
trophy.
year.
Yes. When the kids or even adults get a little restless, I like to take it outside and play some flag football. You don't need a flag football set. You can just use bandanas, tear them in half, and people can just tuck them in the top of their pants, or if it's winter and it's cold where you are, inside the pockets of their jacket. But it's a great way to burn off some steam and instill a little competition.
Very good. So beverages, here is a fun tip that it's just like the football teams, what they do. Check this out. I had this, a neighbor actually had this, and I knew they had it, and I asked to borrow it. And I just covered up the name brand that was on there and stuck my little sticker, and kids can have some punch, or grown-ups, and you feel like you're part of the team.
Obviously, this is great for kids or grown-ups, but have things to add to it if grown-ups want a little extra punch to their punch. It's always fun to have a couple party games. Do you have any ideas for me?
I do, and this was so easy to make. You could do this actually on your wall or on a piece of poster board, but it's just
Painter's tape and
Yep.
a piece of poster board.
Yep.
And then kids can be blindfolded using
There's your
bandanas
blindfold right there.
and try to make a field goal.
Yeah. And all I did to make these was just do a little template. And then I was trying to figure out how could I make these. And I just took some labels and cut them into strips, and then they were sticky, and they were all the same.
That is pure genius.
So another fun activity, which is exactly like what parents, grown-ups do, which is football squares. Have you heard of that? With
Yes.
the points.
We do
And
this every year.
Typically
Yes.
with money, adults pay $1 or whatever for a square. But here's what you do is you draw numbers out of the hat, so they're random. And then also your teams, your two teams playing, go here and here. And then kids sign up for different squares. And instead of money, I would have them do like jumping jacks or run something out to the garbage or little chores like that to earn
That's a
their
great
square.
idea.
Right?
And then what do they win?
They earn a prize. So at the end of each quarter and then at the end of the game, so what you do is if the the score is 7-3, you go down to the 7 and over to the 3. And whatever name is there, that's the child that wins a prize.
I love what you've done with these prize bags, made them look like little footballs. And it looks like you just used like hockey tape or something.
And no one plays hockey at my house, so I don't even know why this is there. But I found it in a drawer, and I like to make use of things.
Great idea.
Thanks.
Thanks for all the great ideas, Peggy. I cannot wait for the next game day.
You're welcome.
After the break, learn about an amazing program that inspires kids to read. Today, the Happy House has the opportunity to join forces with the greater good to distribute lots and lots of books to a local literacy program. I'm at the Greater Good Warehouse, and I'm very impressed with the volume of books I see. All of these books are going to find a new home. We've opened a few boxes just to see exactly what kind of books these children will be receiving. There's a variety of books for all ages and interests. This project was made possible by a very generous donor. I cannot wait to get these books into the hands of kids. Oh, look, point to Happy. I'm with Matt Keller today, Chief Marketing Officer of Capstone, and we are delivering some books to some kids here at the Hennepin County Medical Center.
That's right.
So can you tell me a little bit about what Capstone does and how this project came to be?
Well, Capstone's a publishing company in Minnesota here. We've been around about 25 years, and we do a lot for struggling readers and reluctant readers. Classic reading profile would be a 10-year-old boy who just doesn't want to read. We do a lot of high-interest publishing for them. And we connected with Greater Good and with HCMC to donate over 40,000 books here. And so we're excited to be providing reading material for kids who come here to the hospital.
As I understand it, a lot of the children who come here may not even have books in their home.
No, that's right, exactly. And research shows that if you give a kid a book, they're going to become engaged in learning, and it's also a bonding thing with the mom or the dad. And so we just want to make sure literacy is a big deal for Capstone, and you have to start young with kids. And if a kid is reading by the age of 5, their future looks much brighter than if they're not.
40,000 books is a lot of books.
Yes, it is.
Thank you for this generous donation. I know it's going to make a lot of kids really happy.
No, you bet. Capstone is proud to be part of this.
Not only are we bringing books here today, but we are going to be doing this project over and over throughout the country. So there are book nooks throughout the campus where these books are stored, and then on the back of each book is a sticker in 7 different languages that says, "Take me home," so that no matter who the child is, what language their parent reads, they will see the sticker that they are invited to take that book home.
So doctors can give out the books, but children can also shop for their own shop. When I say shop, I mean take their own books.
Right.
That's such a great program.
So when a child comes into the hospital, there are a lot of reasons we give a book. We might give a book to calm a kid down. We might give a book to a child to distract them. A patient might be really sick, and we've got the sibling there, and you kind of feel left out. No matter what the situation is, we can always bring a book in, and it really makes a huge difference. For literacy to be important to families, it needs to be important to everybody. And one of the ways we do that is that the doctor walks in with the book, talks to the parents about how important it is. A lot of times we don't actually say reading a book. Sometimes our parents aren't literate. But it's really, if you're 2 years old, you don't know if somebody is reading the words in the book.
Right.
It's the number of words a child hears. And that's why we have the program.
So when a patient comes in, do they always get a book, or how does it work?
Thanks to the generosity of the Reach Out and Read program, we have books available for every well child check, from 6 through 5 years of age, but we also have extra books for kids, younger than 6 months through adolescence.
Tell me firsthand what you see when you give a book to a child.
Oh, immediately it changes the encounter for us because we're not so scary all of a sudden. They open up right away, they'll smile, and they'll reach out and grab the book, and they're clearly excited about it every time. Some of these kids, you see them hugging the books as they leave. I mean, they love them, yeah.
That's so great.
And they get excited when they come back for their next visit, and their next visit they ask about the books every time. And really, it's just the excitement that they have for it is the best. I can't imagine doing the visits, especially those long checkups for the kids, without the books.
We had a little boy was sitting down at the table, and a volunteer was reading to him for an hour and a half. And so she started packing up her books, and he said, "Where are you going?" And she said, I have to get back to work. And he said, "Are you going to miss me?" And she said, "I am going to miss you. You are so great. And they're going to call your name next. I know they're going to call you next." And he said, "No, they're not going to call me next. I was done with my exam when I sat down with you. I asked my papa if I could stay for stories." The kids who come, they know that every time they come, they're going to get a book. And they always say their favorite book is the one they get from their doctor.
That's a very great story.
It is. It's why I come to work every day.
That's our show for today. Join us next week on The Happy House.